Joining me now, Nevada Senator Jackie Rosen, who sits on the Foreign Relations and Armed Services Committee. It's good to see you, Senator. Do you believe that Markwayne Mullin would bring change to DHS when it comes to both tactics and operation?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. And I do serve with Senator Mullin, and I do have real concerns, because if he's going to be Kristi Noem round two, number two, or replacement of her, then he doesn't have my support. What we need is someone with a clear head and a clear disposition to run the Department of Homeland Security. The first thing they need to do is be sure that ICE acts like this, like every other law enforcement agency: training, transparency, accountability. He needs to be sure that FEMA, which is responsible for any time anyone in this country has a natural disaster, wildfire, flood, hurricane, earthquake, or other, that they are there in a compassionate way to support our communities, not picking a Democrat or Republican city, but instead taking care of American citizens. Of course, the Coast Guard is there, and our cybersecurity infrastructure agency responsible for public-private partnerships like our energy grid. It is a big job, and it requires someone with disposition, a calm, analytical disposition to act accordingly.
And yet the conventional wisdom is that he will indeed be approved. We haven't gotten a response from Senator Fetterman about how he'll vote. But do you think that for some of your Democratic colleagues, it's just enough that he isn't Kristi Noem?
Well, you know, it isn't enough not to be Kristi Noem. I mean, Kristi Noem, one of the most unqualified folks that we had in the cabinet. In fact, I have a bill out there that you suddenly can't spend money on self-promotion, making commercials for hundreds of millions of dollars of taxpayer money. So it's not enough just not to be her. I want him to tell us what kind of leader he plans to be, and is part of this very important organization that does need oversight, it does need reform, and it does need to act responsibly. So these are the questions I'm going to ask. I was on Homeland Security for 6 years. I'm not currently on that committee, but I plan to speak with him personally on the floor to ask him these questions and see what kind of response I get.
Let me ask you about something you just referenced, that bill you introduced today to prohibit, I think, both cabinet members and other high-ranking officials from using taxpayer dollars for, as you put it, self-promotion ad campaigns. Noem was widely criticized for spending $220 million on a campaign she starred in, and there were lots of reports that when she said that President Trump signed off on it, that was one of the reasons she is no longer a secretary. But are you hearing support for this? Would your bill stop something like that from happening?
Well, what I want to say is this. This is wasteful spending. It's self-promotion. My colleagues are all about stopping wasteful spending, so they should be joining me on this. And Kristi Noem may not be the first, but I want her to be the last. I don't want anyone else to take hard-earned taxpayer dollars. People, like your prior segment, they are feeling it in their businesses, in their homes, at the pump, at the grocery store, the chaotic nature of the tariffs, now a war with Iran and the gas prices going up. We should rein in that spending and that self-promotion. So I would hope that I'll have some co-sponsors of my bill, because they should be all about stopping wasteful spending and self-promotion. And like I said, I want her to be the last.
We've seen the impact that the DHS partial shutdown has had on TSA lines around the country. And, of course, you represent a major tourist hub, Las Vegas. Are you hearing any traction at all on getting a compromise? Where do conversations stand, if anywhere?
Well, I'm not in leadership, but I know Democratic leadership has been working directly with the White House back and forth, trying to come up with some kind of agreement. But I can tell you this, what we're asking for is no more than what our FBI and law enforcement agencies do around the country. We want proper training for our agents. We want transparency in what they do, and we want accountability if they don't treat people with dignity or follow the law. Law enforcement agencies are not above the law themselves, and everyone should be in agreement on this. And as far as TSA, you're exactly right. Our fight, our problems are with ICE and trying to rein in this roving band of I want to say thugs that have really just gone around knowing or thinking that they're above the law, acting without impunity. And so let us fund everything else. I've introduced a bill to fund TSA. They blocked it. I'm doing it again as an amendment to the SAVE Act. We'll see what happens there. I'm going to keep introducing it every day. If they believe what they say, that they want to have this discussion on ICE, then let them have that. We can fund TSA fully. And the president, by the way, my phone's in my pocket. The president has my number. If he gives the word, my bill will pass. So I'll be waiting for that phone call. If he's listening, I'll walk straight to the Capitol. I'll introduce my bill. And if he tells Republicans not to block it, he'll come to his desk as soon as the House will pass it as well.
Senator Jackie Rosen, thank you.